So here's one example problem of subtracting polynomials. You can see right here we have two brackets, subtract another bracket. So how do we do this? Remember from if you watched the last video, so subtraction sign is a little bit tricky. There is one way of looking at this is that if you imagine that there is a negative sign which is a -1, and you're going to distribute this sign and multiply this sign with every one of the other terms in the bracket. So which means that I'm just going to erase this so that you don't get confused with all this stuff. Okay, let's just erase all that. What I mean by that is that this negative sign means that there's a -1 here. This -1 is going to get distributed into this one. That means that -1 is going to be multiplied to the 2x squared. What is the reason why we're distributing all of this stuff? The reason behind why we have to distribute or change the signs is we need to get rid of the brackets because we can't do anything when they're boxed in with a bracket. So in order to get rid of these brackets, we have to sort of do another math step such as simplifying to get rid of the brackets. So the step here we have to take to get rid of the brackets is to simplify with this term. So this -1 is going to be multiplied to 2x squared, which is a positive 2x. So this negative times a positive makes it a -2x squared. This -1 times a positive 2x right here is -2x. And -1 times a -1 here is +1. That's basically the simplifying step. This is taking the brackets away so then we can combine our fractions. And the first bracket doesn't have a negative sign, it's all positive. So we can just get rid of these brackets and leave it as it is. So if we look at the first one, it's just exactly the same as inside the brackets, but just without the brackets. Okay? And then now you can collect your like terms. So I'm just going to box out my like terms. These are my x squares. What other like terms do I have? I have positive x here, -2x, and then I have my numbers after. So how do I combine these two like terms? I have a positive 2, -2, so they cancel each other out. I have a positive x, -2x, that's going to be -1x, and -3, +1, -2. That looks kind of funny. So let me just erase this a little bit. Whoa. So +1x and subtract 2. How do I do this with algebra tiles? So if I scroll down here, same thing. So if you look at this, the first initial step is get rid of the brackets after the negative sign. So one other technique that I showed you last time was that we can just change this into positive. Okay, you can remember that as your first step. And then your second step you have to do is that all these signs have to be completely opposite. So this is a positive, so it has to be a -2x squared. And this is a positive, so it has to be a -2x. We're changing all the signs to positive. This is a negative, so we're going to change this into +1. We didn't do anything to this one, so I'm just going to rewrite this. And then now you can drop all the brackets because these are all positive, so you can just get rid of the brackets and just rewrite them. So you can see this one, it requires you to remember how to do it. Remember the steps, but it doesn't really tell you why or understand why we have to change the signs in the opposite. Either way, whichever way works for you, you can still do it. And then the last step here is collect the like terms. So this is a like term, this is a like term. And then this is also a like term with each other. And the last one, the numbers are like terms. How do we do this with algebra tiles? So let me see. Positive 2x squared. So I have 1 here and positive x squared. Positive x, I have positive x. Okay. -3, I have the white ones for -3. So I have 3 of these ones because it's a negative. And then the next one is a -x squared. So I need the negative ones and I need 2 of these ones. And then lastly, I have your -2x, so these are negatives again, and finally +1, like that. So what do I do with these ones? Well, I need to cancel out anything that are opposite. So these ones are opposite. These ones, oh, if my thing is behaving, this is opposite. And lastly, these ones are opposite. So anything that are opposite in colors, you can just get rid of them. So we can just get these out of the way. So these ones we don't want. These big x squares we don't want. So what do we have left? What is this rectangular shape? What does that represent? That represents first of all, it's a negative. And what is that rectangular shape? They're x's, so that's negative 1x. What about these ones? This individual one is minus 1. Since we have two minus 1s, that'll be minus 2. Is that the same answer as what we got up top? Exactly. So that's how you subtract polynomials. See you later.